Hello everyone, today we are seeing if I can break into the top 100 worldwide in Pokemon VGC. To start off the day, we have a very meta standard Sun team, perhaps with the more subversive Sableye. Now, looking at this matchup, obviously with my Kyogre, it really just comes down to weather control. Obviously they've got that Gastrodon that can potentially cause me a lot of problems with its water absorb ability, so looking at how I lead into this, I'm always going with the Zapdos because it has super effective damage into both Venusaur and Charizard, and obviously it can evade the Groudon's ground type attacks. I definitely want Persian here for that fake out support, and obviously we need Kyogre in the back for that weather control. And I might bring this Iron Dog thing because I hear it's quite good apparently. I think this is a very favourable matchup for me. I think my opponent generally has to play well. People often like to rely on Gastrodon against Kyogre teams. My hot take, I think Gastrodon was good in the meta for a while, but I think, yeah, as a Kyogre player, Kyogre-centric player myself, my general strategy these days is just to ignore Gastrodon, KO everything around it. Yeah, as Wolfie VGC calls it, all my friends are dead syndrome. So in a matchup where we have, I would say, the more favourable Pokemon lineup, I definitely think you have to play offensive, really take advantage. So this is a very intelligent lead by them because obviously they can switch in Groudon on either side to potentially get a knockout. I think this is really smart play from them, maybe just acknowledging they have a bad matchup and putting me in a double jeopardy situation where if I get this call wrong, they can obviously just knock me out either way. So what I'm going to do here to get around this is Max Guard into Icy Wind. This allows me two things. Number one, it stops Zapdos from getting knocked out by Charizard or going to sleep. Number two, it gives me the speed control going into the following turn. And obviously, number three, it allows me to switch in my Kyogre to completely nullify their weather control. And they're actually going to Gastrodon, wow. I guess I'm not really entirely sure why they went into Gastrodon into that slot. I guess maybe they just don't really care about Gastrodon, but yeah, I really don't mind this because obviously we get the Icy Wind off into Charizard, which means we will outspeed it come hella high water because Persian, a lot of people don't know Persian speed tier in this meta. It does actually outspeed all of the base 100s. And then we can threaten with a KO into Charizard next turn. Now, I mean, they've essentially bet the house on this play. They've essentially bet that I'm going to max airstream into Gastrodon, so I would assume this is max airstream into Persian. I assume what they're angling for here is max airstream into Persian, get the speed boost, then switch into Groudon and knock out Zapdos the following turn. That's new. Yeah, so the Max Guard is redundant, but I don't regret it because it did cover for Sleep Powder and Wildfire into that slot. So if I was them, I would now angle into switching in Groudon and potentially trying to knock out the Zapdos. But all I have to do to get around that is just Icy Wind. They could also be Wakanberry. That would explain their play a lot. I mean, if this doesn't knock out, I could actually be in a little bit of trouble. Okay, that obviously puts us in an amazing position. And yeah, I think it shows the strength of my turn 1 play in the sense that, you know, they could switch into Groudon, Sleep Powder on Venusaur. They could switch the Venusaur into Groudon, Wildfire into Charizard. And I think the Max Guard into Icy Wind covered for both plays. I guess it didn't cover for the very niche situation in which they Sleep Powder into Persian, but that would always be the most, you know, bizarre play. So I covered for all their options, and, you know, assuming they weren't like Assault Vest or Wakanberry, gave myself for the angle for the knockout this turn. And I think this is why I've had, you know, I know I'm, you know, around rank 1000 now, but I have been in the top 150 with this team, beaten players like James Bake and some top 10 ranked players. I think Zapdos really is an absolutely incredible Pokemon in this format because It does do extremely well into Sun teams like this. It does fairly well into Zacian. It has excellent speed control. They do go for the protection with Groudon. For me, it's just finding the right partners for Zapdos, because I think Zapdos' worst matchups include, for example, Dialga, Palkia. So they could be angling for a Yawn here. I think Yawn would be a smart play. Yeah, I don't really mind this, because obviously now we can just go into Kyogre. Now, obviously, I will potentially be giving their Gastrodon some boost, but again, as I said earlier, I don't really care, because you know I should be able to two-shot Gastrodon with virtually everything. So now I'm just gonna go Hurricane into Water Spout. That is a very bulky Gastrodon, as you would expect with that berry boost. But we will be 3-2 up now with both of our restricteds. Well, actually, who do they have in the back? Is it Zacian? Ooh, a Zacian could be awkward here, actually. Especially if they knock out my Zapdos, I could actually be in a little bit of trouble here. Alright, I may have just thrown this game. This is why you always pay attention to what your opponent has in the back. So, I think if you're them... Alright, so if you're them, you could protect Zacian and try and knock out my Zacian with Earth Power. Oh, it's actually Venusaur. Right, of course, I've got Alzheimer's. Okay, yeah, we should always be able to win this game then by going for Sacred Sword. I guess they do have Sleep Powder. Actually, with the terrain up, they don't even have Sleep Powder. So, yeah, we can just Water Spout to break a potential Focus Sash. So they didn't bring both of their restricted, so I actually really, to be honest, love their strategy here. They basically said, you know, we're in a bad matchup. We're gonna put they're gonna put me in a situation where where whichever slot I don't target at the beginning of the game, they can potentially, you know, knock me out with Charizard, Sleep Powder with Venusaur, and thankfully I just found my angle around that. And that's why you have to... I wouldn't say my turn 1 play was a risk, because I felt like the chances of them targeting Persian, doubling into Persian, for example, were very, very low. But it's just evaluating all your options and finding the right play. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Please let me know if you have any teams you want me to try, or any kind of content niches you want me to experiment with. And have a great day. Cheers.